First bill is House Bill 175, repurposing bonds authorized for the city of Hazelhurst. This is a bill Representative Holloway and Stamps sent down here, and I think it's just repurposing some of the funds that are licensed, that are under the bond 134 and line 34 and 35. I think it just for furnishing and equipping of a community center. That's what definition of the bill. Are there any questions? Seeing none, for a motion.
Title sufficient, do pass.
Thank you, Senator England. Title sufficient, do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Next is House Bill 192. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 192 deals with the disabled veterans car tags and allows for a veteran that is 75% disabled or greater to qualify for a car tag. It changes it from the current 100%. That's an explanation of the bill.
Are there any questions on the bill? Seeing none, for a motion.
Title sufficient, do pass.
Title sufficient, do pass the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. Next, House Bill 252. This is the PERS language that we did somewhere in the Senate bill that just allows PERS to increase their basket from 10 to 20% in their investment portfolio. We discussed this, and I think Director Higgins came and met with us and explained it. This is the same language. We're just keeping a vehicle open for any unforeseen circumstances that may occur, but that's the definition of the bill. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Senator Younger, title sufficient, do pass the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next is House Bill 446. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is going to be the omnibus vehicle for the distinctive motor vehicle license tags. I'd like to add a reverse repealer to it at the appropriate time.
Are there any questions on the bill? Seeing none, for a motion as we add an amendment of reverse repealer to the bill. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Move title sufficient, do pass as amended.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. Next is House Bill 470. Senator Johnson, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 470 extends the repeal date for the sales tax exemption for Camp Camasa, which is in Copiah County. And that's all the bill does.
Okay. Are there any questions? Senator England.
For a motion,
Sure.
title sufficient, do pass.
Thank you. Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator England. Next is House Bill 472. This extends the income tax repealer on certain costs paid by a company in relocating national or regional headquarters to Mississippi. We do have an amendment on this bill. It's on line 430 by striking 2025 and replacing it with 2026. That's the language that the Senate had in our bill. Does essentially the same thing. Are there any questions on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Ayes have it for a motion. The motion is title sufficient, do pass as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The chair is not in doubt. It was close, but the ayes have it. House Bill 473, Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a strike all from the House version, but all the strike all does is change the date for the repealer to be extended. The House had a 3-year, we're doing a 4-year, and then it also takes a few paragraph indicators out that that were not cleaned up when the House had done the bill. So that's all the bill does.
So, are there any questions on the bill? Senator England for a motion.
I'll move title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
Motion is title sufficient do pass
As amended.
as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it again. Next is House Bill 474. This is the Mississippi Healthcare Industry Zone Act, extending the repealer on it. Same language the Senate has. We're only amendment we're going to do is an amendment changing it from 2025 to 2026. Are there any questions on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Are there any other questions on the bill? Senator Brown, would you like to speak? Okay, good deal. For a motion. Sufficient do pass as amended is motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next is House Bill 512, Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 512 is the ABC warehouse bill. We did a strike all and put our exact language in the bill, and that's an explanation of what we've done.
All right, Senator Bryan for a question.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I do have a concern about this bill, and as best I can tell, these might as well be vehicles to get into conference for the House and Senate to talk about their various ideas. I've sort of been persuaded we need to do something different, but I'm concerned about the employees, and it did get my attention when I understood the argument was we can save a pile of money if we just don't have to pay PERS for these employees. So we'll just move them out of the PERS system and that's what we'll do, which seems to me is not very good for the employees and not very good for the system. And I'm just concerned that we don't at least consider the situation where the employees can remain members of PERS and the new regime.
Thank you. Any other questions on the bill? I didn't hear I lost the last part of your question, Senator.
I think the last part of my question is, don't you agree with me?
Sure. Thank you, Senator Bryan. Any other questions on the bill? Yeah. Seeing no further questions.
Title sufficient do pass as amended.
Motion is title sufficient do pass as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next is House Bill 516. This is the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation extend the repealer. This is a little different from the House bill. We actually brought the code sections forward on this bill instead of reenacting them. The repealer date was October, which is unusual. And anyway, so we brought the code sections forward and we extended the repealer out. That is a description of the bill. Are there any questions? Seeing none, for a motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. And the last bill is House Bill 1430. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1430 deals with beneficial interest of an automobile, and it allows for the owner of an automobile to designate a beneficiary where the title can pass upon their death without probate. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Thought you'd like that. All right, are there any questions on the bill? Senator Fillingane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like the idea. I was just curious, when you go ahead and fill, is it like you flip it over on the back and you're filling something out, or is it a different form?
I'm not sure where the location on the title will be, but it must be on the title.
Okay, so if in my estate planning for me or my client, I think, well, this would be a great idea. So we flip that title over and we go ahead and put that designation upon pass upon death to, Aunt Sally or whoever. Then what if I change my mind during my lifetime and say, well, Aunt Sally made me mad. I'm not going to leave her this car anymore. I want to sell it, or I want to leave it to Uncle
Yes.
Jojo or somebody.
You can revoke that designation
And then you
at
have to
any time.
send it off for a new title?
That's my understanding, yes. It cannot be done through a will. It has to be done through Department of Revenue.
And then if there's a conflict between it and what your will, your last will and testament says.
This would take precedent over the will.
So it's like inter vivos transfer during your lifetime?
I don't know, this is not Judd, I'm way behind on the legal language, but, but it's designated until you undo it via how it's laid out in here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Philligain. Senator Bryan for a question.
I think what they have in mind is something like a payable on death account. So maybe it needs to be titleable upon death or travelable upon death or something. But I'm not being entirely flip, because my understanding is a payable on death account is a bank account that I own. It's got payable on death to X, but X doesn't have any interest at all in that account unless I do my part and die, at which point X can waltz in and get the money and go have a good time. But I can go down the next day and change it to payable on death to Y, or just not have a payable on death account and keep it all for myself when I go.
Keep it yourself.
Let's, and I'm happy to work with any language changes y'all want to before we take it up on the floor.
I mean, again, I'm not trying to be silly. I think that is exactly what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
And I'm not clever enough to know what words to use or how to get there, but there ought to be a sentence or something on the back of the title where you could fix that or do it by the internets or whatever we do now.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Bryan. Senator England for a question.
Yes, so I haven't drafted many wills. I don't do much estate practice, but when I do, I know one of the provisions that I put in the will is that when I'm creating a will, it revokes all previous wills and codicils to same and anything along those lines. And I'm sure Senator Philligain has seen this. Anybody that's practiced in estate law sees that, but this would not affect if you've signed the back of your title, and that's with Mississippi. If this bill passes, it would be wise for attorneys, I guess, to advise their clients that their vehicle might go outside of their will because even the will cannot revoke the previous signing of a title under a beneficiary. Is that correct?
That's correct. I think it's line 34.
Would it be considered a friendly amendment to strike that, or would that completely undo the will? And I tell you, I know that's a loaded question, and I do believe we're going to be meeting again on this matter, and there may be some more discussions to be had on this. Would this be a bill that we could maybe lay on the table subject to call the chair
Or if you're fine with it, we could put a reverse repealer in and work on that. I think we also, if we're going to do that, I think we need to work with DOR on their process, because I think it gets more complicated. Then you're back into probate, and that was what this was going to avoid. So I think we need to look at that and see how their process runs, because they'll have it in their system to change title.
I get that. I'm not sure that sometimes it's not a good idea to avoid probate when in these instances, in my opinion. But yeah, I would. I'll make an amendment. I would like to make a motion to amend by adding a reverse repealer and give us a chance to talk about it more. So that's I make a motion to
At
amend.
the appropriate time, I'll recognize you.
Okay.
I think Senator Philligain want to make another comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think maybe like Senator Bryan was saying, this is akin to what we did a year or two ago on the transferable on death deeds, where you can go ahead and prepare a deed and say transferable on death to X. And then if during your lifetime you change your mind or you need to refinance or sell your property to downsize or whatever, you can do that, and just basically makes that provision void on that deed because that deed's no longer applicable. I guess the mechanics of it, like they were saying, is my concern. So if you have that designation on the back of the title, transferable on death to whomever, then it passes essentially outside of the estate, but then someone, because you're dead, someone's gonna have to turn that in. And then the whole issue of the tax, who's responsible for the tax up until that point? And, there's just some issues. So maybe it's along the lines of the transferable on death deed that we did, and maybe some of that language could be employed here. But I like the concept. It's a problem that's been out there for a while, and this would probably be very helpful. I just want to make sure we do it the right way. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Phillingain. Senator Bryan.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I know you're not a lawyer, so you may not be the one to do this. But I think if we get the lawyers on the committee together, we can draft this in such a way that you'll have to hire a lawyer to sell a car.
My Juris Light degree does not go that far. Senator England, for your amendment.
Yes, I will make my amendment, but I do have a, let me make my amendment and then speak on my amendment. Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay,
What's
so
your amendment?
my amendment is to add a reverse repealer. And another question I'd like the committee to consider while we're looking at this through the process is, in a will, you also have provisions that protect people who may not, may be coerced to do one thing or the other. And I'm just worried about the person that's signing their title over in their vehicle. I guess the assumption is they wouldn't care if they're not here anymore. They don't care who's driving their vehicle around. Unless they're going to come back as a ghoul and haunt somebody over this. But I just have a lot of, I do think there are some very valid questions on this. So that's my motion is to add a reverse repealer so we can talk about it more.
Thank you for that long amendment. Any other questions on the amendment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Your amendment passed.
Motion title sufficient do pass as amended.
Motion is title sufficient to pass as amended. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to rise and report. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it.